My name is Kelly Ayat, quarterback at the University of Mount Tampa. In the off-season, it's important to do everything you can to prepare for the season. In high school, that means funding your program. In my experience, Vertical Raise is the ultimate online fundraiser platform. They'll broaden your reach of your fundraiser and bring in more money than other platforms. And there are no sneaky or hidden fees like other companies. If you're trying to raise money for your program, reach out to Vertical Raise today.
Did you know that the vast majority of storage unit companies around Montana are being bought up by private equity firms? If you want to do business with a family-owned, locally operated storage company, you want to do business with Copperstone Storall. Copperstone Storall Storage Units is Montana's largest boat and RV facility, and a new expansion is on the horizon, offering even more premier, spacious units to store everything from boats to RVs, campers to trailers. Find the perfect sized unit today at Copperstone Storall. Visit online at copperstonestorage.com or call 728-STORE. That's 728-STOR.
Well, you know this hit's getting popular because people were asking, "Where is it?" So
good,
yeah,
doing something right, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got even people on Griz being like, "Where's the hit with Jordy this week?" I said, "Hey, he's on vacation. Let him enjoy himself. We'll get back together when he gets back." So
Hey, I know those cats probably let me have it on there. I don't blame them though.
hey, here's the thing though. They don't. They love you. It's great.
Okay.
It's calmed down a little bit. I don't know. Here's the thing. There's not as many of the former guys that are on there stirring the pot. You know, I think Featherston's got better things to do than go on Egriz.
Go into the computer lab and make up offensive packages with the defensive guys playing offense. And oh my gosh, I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? Just getting all riled up.
Oh, he thought that was so funny. Let's talk briefly about last week, and then we can talk about this fully unorthodox non-conference game that Montana has, which is such a weird deal. I can't ever remember middle of October when a team from that Montana's never played come to town. But first, let's talk about Cal Poly. My number one impression of Cal Poly was that I think they are a middle Big Sky Conference team. I voted them to be a bottom Big Sky Conference team, but I think they are better than they were. I loved 44, Mike D'Amato. I thought he was a sweet player. I thought Olson, the other linebacker, was good. I thought Rivera, the safety that had a pick, was good. 21, the freshman corner, was good. I just thought they had a lot of good guys on defense. What did you see, though, in the first half, though? They had Montana so stuck in the mud offensively. And what do you think they changed to help them? Because they definitely fixed something to pull away pretty easily in the second half.
Yeah, I actually, fortunately, this will be kind of fun this week to talk about it because it's Friday now, and I've had a chance to talk to Brent Peace about this on our production call, and I mean, just what you said. You and I sit there and we can evaluate and think, but we're not really in the guts of it on the headsets and phones, and I mean, they were moving the ball. It's just the turnovers, the two turnovers in the red zone or high red. I mean, it's not the red zone, but the pick in the red zone, the high red turnover, the fourth down turnover on downs. So, I mean, they were moving the ball. It's just they weren't capitalizing on those scoring opportunities, one. And then two, there's a few opportunities that got missed that Kaylee missed. And I mean, right when he came off, he told Brent right away. He's like, "Hey, I should have seen this, whatever." I mean, and that's something that Brent said that he is maturing at so well as he's understanding when he missed an opportunity and just is staying so calm. But that's where in the first half, those opportunities to score, and there was four of them, take two of those, that's 14 points and a couple of field goals, or all four of them touchdowns. I mean, that's 28 points, man. And the Griz have, top in the FCS red zone efficiency, and when they don't do that, it shows up on the scoreboard. So that's what happened, man. They missed their opportunities to score and turned over on downs, and credit Cal Poly for taking it off of them and coming in here and hanging with them for a while. But that was my evaluation, and then I heard kind of Brent just reinforce it. So got to score when you have ops.
Yeah, the pick that Ayat threw to, I thought was actually a good decision. It was just a bad throw.
Yeah,
he just fluttered it, man. It came out of his hands wrong. It was spinning.
Yeah, that so they brought I can't remember going back. It was either nickel pressure or nickel and the inside linebacker from that side to his left. And the guy didn't he hit him, but he didn't hit him. But what it did is it I mean, it's like when you get when you get pressure in your face, typically if you go low as a defender, you always go low because they're going to sail the. I mean, they're going to throw it and they're going to sail it high because I mean it's like basketball when you go to
Mhm.
somebody's. I mean, so anyway, he sailed it a little bit and Gale ran. I thought Gale ran a pretty good route, but if Kaylee had just threw that ball a little bit flatter, um, yeah, there was a guy on top and a guy trailing, but I mean he had him. It was a great route. If he would have put a little more zing on it, he might have threaded it in there. I thought it was a good ball or a good route, good decision, just bad throw.
The other thing that I thought Bobby Hauck actually said this in the lead up to the game. He said, "Hey, last year we really struggled with the stuff Cal Poly was showing us pre-snap, and they kept confusing us because they would show us like a zone look, and then
Hey
morph
man,
into man and man and morph into zone." And he's like, "It really bothered us last year, but no one really noticed because we scored the long slant route touchdown, and then Bergen had a punt return touchdown too." And
that's
he's like, we actually didn't really play that well on offense last year, but it was masked because we scored 275-yard touchdowns. And I thought that was sort of the case too on Saturday because you could tell right away they could run the ball. The Griz could run the ball against Cal Poly, but then they kept checking out of it. Like they didn't run the ball at all in the second quarter. I think Gilman had one touch in the whole second quarter. You're sitting there
yeah,
thinking,
he
like, what are
didn't.
they doing? Why aren't they running it? And then what happens in the third quarter? They have the long 96-yard drive, which I thought, swung the momentum completely in the Griz favor. And then they just started feeding the beast. And Gilman had like 100 of his 123 yards after
And
that. And they really just busted him open.
yeah. I mean that's a perfect way to put it. They struggled generating explosives in the first half. I mean, I don't know if they had one. I mean, maybe one or two plays over 15 yards in the first half. Cal Poly outgained them, I think 276 to like 145. I mean, they almost doubled them up on offense, but Montana's got a bunch of athletes and they can create explosives and they just weren't able to do it. And that's a credit to Cody Van Oppen and their defense for, I mean, screwing with those looks. I mean, there's a lot of check with me stuff at the line where Kaylee will have, the option to, and it's not necessarily, yes, there is RPO, but it's not necessarily just hey, we're gonna run or we're gonna pass it. We have a pass play called we can it to a run
Right.
play or vice versa. So that's a credit to Cody though by showing him certain looks and like you said, bailing out and playing too high or playing one high and then taking away the slants. I mean, there was a couple of times in the first quarter where you talk about that slant that they got burned on where they dropped eight a few times, then they dropped four, but they dropped their boundary defensive end. Um, Justice Taylor, Victory, I can't remember. That kid was a stud. Number 10, they dropped him into the slant window and took away some of those quick hitters that Montana knew they were going to have opportunities at. I just thought that was interesting, making Kaylee pull it off and sending pressure, getting home, and Paulie's capable. It's just, and I mean, you can tell it's a Paul Wolf coach team. It's taken him a while, and it's probably going to take him a little while longer to develop depth and get a squad in there. But they give Montana fits, man. I think they're going to give other people fits. I mean, they almost beat Davis the week before.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if that's a team that's 6-6 or something, 7-5 by the time
Yeah,
it's all said and done. They got to figure out the quarterback thing because I think that they got into a rotation because somebody got hurt and now they're just messing with them. Because I thought Bro Kelly looked good the week before, but then you see Diefenbach and you're like, well, I can see why you want to play him. Like you were saying on the broadcast, this guy's like a physical freak. He's like 6'7", and he can
yeah,
run.
yeah. He's got gas on his arm. I mean, the kid he can throw it, he can run it. I mean, he sees everything so well just because of his stature, but you saw when he's on, I mean, he dropped that one in the bucket to Briscoe. He threw a few across the middle early before he got rattled, and he does have like talk to Tim Rosenbach after. I mean, he's got the big play capability and
Yeah.
the ability to do it, but he's young. He's a freshman, and he forces things and doesn't see things particularly well against a defense that moves a lot. But I mean, you got a guy there. If you develop him and work with him, I think that he could be a problem.
Oh
And you
yeah.
got some talent. I mean, their wideouts were good, man, but they couldn't get him the ball.
Yeah, they could get him the ball.
Yo,
Yeah.
Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yo.
Nuanez now in Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more championships.
Thanks so much for listening to the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series and for tuning into our Skyline Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to both the podcast and all your various podcast hosted networks and to the YouTube channel as well. Thanks to our great partners, including Ryan Miller and Coburn Law. Ryan Miller and Coburn are ace attorneys, each with different expertise. Paul Ryan, the master when it comes to DUIs. Angie Miller, excellent in medical malpractice. Abigail Coburn, federal drug charges. She's the one you want defending you. They can help in any and all sorts of criminal defense cases. They have a live answering service that's available 24 hours a day, 406-542-2233. You can also visit rmcattorneys.com. Ryan and Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys. Let's hear from RMC right now. So tell me about just the behind the scenes for the firm expansion from just a branding and promotions standpoint.
Yeah, so I love the branding aspect of the business. That is something that, I don't know why, but it's like my little creativity outlet. And so when we were looking at doing the rebrand, we had our diamonds and we wanted to kind of update those to incorporate, where we were going. And so we talked about it. And one of the big things that drives us is that we are that link from our clients to justice, that we, get them to justice that they deserve. And so that's kind of where those 3 diamonds came into play, and that inner link to represent us connecting our clients to justice. And it really hits home for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and credit where credit's due, because the Griz did get a lot of pressure this week, and that knocked Diefenbach off the spot and it made him be uncomfortable. The Griz also got away with a couple, like the one that the Prince Ford pick. Like, bless his heart, good job getting the pick. But Briscoe, if you watch that back, he does the 2 fingers behind him and audibles himself. He calls his own hot route. And then he said, "Hey, I'm running right to the middle of the field." And then Diefenbach got hit from the side, and he fluttered it.
Yeah,
it goes off Briscoe's hands. I mean, that's a 25-yard gain for Cal Poly if that's on the money. But again, credit where credit's due. That's how the defense works, right? That guy hit him, and it flutters, and Prince Ford gets the pick. But it was funny because they were certainly, like, those receivers were good too, man. To finish talking about Cal Poly, then we can keep talking about the Griz. It was stunning to me when last time I was in San Luis Obispo in 2022 when the Cats were down there. The Cats had no running backs. They literally did not have a running back. They were down 7 running backs, and they played Marquis Johnson, who was their kick returner at running back. Cal Poly was so god-awful on defense that Marquis Johnson won National Player of the Week. He's never played running back, and he never played running back again. He had like 275 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. And I was sitting there thinking, I can't believe this happened to Cal Poly. Because they had so many dudes for so long. They gave up 72. Began was playing his 4th string, and they couldn't get off the field. And he was like mad because he couldn't run out the clock. And then a couple weeks later, they came to Missoula, and they lost like 61-0. And I was like, how did they let this happen? This is unbelievable. But now they actually have it going. So it actually makes me happy that they're back to being solid.
You just hope that they let Paul Wolf stay there and let him, because it might not show right now. I mean, 28-9, that's a bad loss, and it shows up just when you look at it. But I mean, they played tough for 3.5 quarters, man, and they played tough against Davis. They played tough against Sack. But you ask yourself the question that you just said, how did that happen to Paul? I mean, you remember Ramses Barden, the big receiver? I
Man,
mean, they've had so many, like all the defensive
Nick
MVPs they've
Zubnar. I mean, he
had.
played. Nick Zubnar played in the NFL for like 10
Yeah.
years.
I remember
Cameron
Millard,
Onko, that kid Cameron Onko played up in the CFL. He played with JP Canagata forever.
Asa Jackson,
Yep,
the DB. I mean, he played in the NFL for Baltimore forever. I mean, Sullivan Groves, the defensive tackle, defensive MVP. I mean, there's so many guys who've been studs there. And you're right. I mean, how did this? I mean, I remember every week, every year when we would play Poly, it's like, buckle up, man. Like this is going to
sure.
be a dog because it is. They'd cut the hell out of you. They were they were probably the second best triple option team. Um, obviously nobody was as good as Georgia Southern when Georgia Southern ran it. I mean, that was crazy. But Poly I mean, they were a playoff team and they were a tough playoff team and they beat Montana a handful of times and I mean, they always had squads. They were always good, always well coached. They ran the triple option well and they were tough. I hated playing Poly, man. You'd feel like you got beat by a bat the next day because it's freaking triple option, just people cutting you all day long.
I'm telling you, man. We did our top 25 players of the Skyline Sports era, and uh Joe Prothero, the fullback from Cal Poly, was one of them, man. Like I will never forget that guy. There is very few guys you could ever see at any level of football where you could give. I mean, he runs one play and
Yeah.
they would give him the ball 35 times and he would still like rush for 150 yards somehow. That was one
No,
tough sucker, man. That guy was unbelievable.
yeah, I mean that dude was tough. Yes, I want the best for the conference. I really want to see Poly though be back to where
Yeah,
they were, and I seriously think with Paul Wolf, if you let him have enough time, that team is going to be as dangerous as he was when he was at Eastern. I mean, I guarantee you they will. They got that John Madden center. He talked about the recruiting and how that's just going to help them with recruiting. I mean, it's a beautiful setting. They're going to have the facilities. They're going to have a good coach. I think they got all the pieces to be pretty damn good. Um, I mean, look what he did at Eastern, and you're not recruiting in at Cheney. No offense to Cheney, but
right. San Luis Obispo is a little
hey,
nicer place
man,
to live.
yeah.
For sure. What else did you like about what the Griz did last week? I mean, I thought I think what's emerging now is at sort of the midpoint of the year is that I think that they're still a work in progress. I think they still have some definitive weaknesses, but I think that their ability to finish is pretty dang impressive. I mean, they're killing teams in the fourth quarter. They have had a whole bunch of variable performances the first three quarters of games, but they have
hmm
dominated the fourth quarter in all four of the games or all six of the games that they've played so far this year.
Yeah, so twofold on that. I think that their strength coach Dan Ryan and he's well, with Mike Gerber, who was the strength coach when Coach Houck was initially here. And he does all the platform work and everything with those guys starting in winter conditioning, spring ball, summer. And he also does a little bit of a variation of that with some more movement stuff. But I think that him in the weight room is the key to so much of that success late third and fourth quarter. They are able to wear people out. They have more depth. And, you can always say you got to stay healthy, but a lot of staying healthy is putting the hours in the weight room. And I think that they do that. I think that they have a very elite weight program at Montana. So I think that is something that really bodes well for them in the fourth quarter. But then, as well as I do, Bobby Houck, they practice it. He grinds those kids hard all off season, all summer, and they're built for it, man. I mean, he tests them mentally every single week. I mean, in fall camp, puts them in a lot of hard situations and tries to, I don't want to say this in a bad way for people listening, like I don't want to say he beats them down, but he finds out where every single kid's breaking point is. And
Right.
so when you get into those situations when you are down 11 or you're down 13 on the road against Idaho State, the whole not flinching thing is I've been in tough situations before. I just got to stay on course and do my job. And they do that as a unit, man. You don't see panic. I mean, they were down 9 against Poly and they couldn't do anything. And they come out and rattle off 21 on offense, and the defense steps up. And same thing against Idaho State, same thing against North Dakota. It's just part of their DNA because they prepare to be that way. And I think that really good teams have that identity to them. You got to find a way to win when the game's on the line, period. I don't care if it's an unranked team or you're playing North Dakota State. It's just that's part of how he develops his guys.
It's interesting too because Coach Alk has talked multiple times about how good teams win when they don't play well, and I actually think in his mind they haven't played well like 4 out of the 6 games that they've won, or at least portions of them. So you wonder then when they turn the corner, right? And I think that's the thing. I think you would agree with this. I think he actually loves it when they're not playing as well as they can and still winning, because it gives him something to harp on every week.
No doubt.
Right?
Yeah. So when we were, and I'm going to go age myself, but go back to 2009, when we were 14-0 going into the national championship. And there was a lot of games early in that year because I mean this is the first year that they've been 6-0 since 09. And so when I was a freshman on that team, Brock and I were both backups and we played on special teams. And I just remember we were number 1 in the country, and some of these weeks, man, we had some close calls. I mean, we barely beat Eastern in week 7. Mark did Mark things and returned a punt for like 65 yards to beat Eastern. We were getting beat at home. And then we go down to Idaho State and win by 2 on a last second field goal. Idaho State's unranked. And then pretty soon we got into the later parts of the year, and then you start playing good ball around that last game. And it gives him ammunition. It gives him, hey guys, we haven't arrived. We're not that good. You need to show up every day and do your job and go to work. And I think it's great because when you just beat the brakes off everybody, it's easy to get lackadaisical, and it allows Coach Howe now to have him and all his assistants and everybody really sharpen both sides of that knife, both sides of that sword, so they can be playing their best ball late in the year.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
An open-ended question, but if I was to ask you who is Five Valleys Restoration, how would you answer that?
It's definitely not me anymore. It was, when I first started it, I became the face of it, but it's very much, I don't think it's any one person anymore. It's very much, I think we're a staff of 29 today, and we have built it with, it's not 1-year people, 2-year people. Obviously, Mark and I are the ones that sit at the top, but we have guys that have been there, guys and gals that have been there for 10, 8, 7, 5 years. We have a group that's come together, and we recognize that taking care of our people will help them become the face of the company too. So we try to treat them in any manner that we can. Our guys did a big bowling event yesterday where they just all came together, watched football, went bowling, and I don't even think Mark and I were invited. So it was kind of nice. They did their own thing, which we were perfectly okay with because it's to build some camaraderie. Oh, yeah, we're always looking to add to our team. We are actively growing. We could do even more work than we're doing now, but we're building our staff, and we always like to build it the right way. We try not to just put a warm body in any spot, bring them on, bring an individual on, train them the way we like them to be trained, and put them out there to be the best for our clients.
Well, what I have thought was their weaknesses the first half of this season, I think one of those has been at corner, and I think that has actually improved quite a bit. You look at the PFF grades, Like since Loud went down, Kenzel Lawler is actually like the number 2 graded corner in the country. Like he's only given up like 30% completion percentage.
He's gotten
Since
targeted
Loud went down. Yeah, I mean, he moved over to the number 1 spot and he's totally embraced it. And he's been very good. He had the pick 6. He had multiple PBUs against Idaho State. I think that Gentry being out hurts him because I thought he's a talented young guy. But regardless, their secondary has, I think, improved. I think the corners have gotten better. The number 1, and I think everywhere else, I think that they're great. I think they have great talent at linebacker, great talent at safety. I think that the offensive skill is awesome, and I think the quarterback is great. The only thing I think is the offensive line, man. The offensive line's got to make progress, man. Like that's the part where I think the left side's shored up.
Yep.
I don't know what the heck they're doing with the center, but it sounds like they're actually going to play Botner at tackle this week. So that actually helps them, I think, because they don't have to do the 2 center thing anymore. But I just think that right side's got to keep coming along. So, I mean, how does that happen? Is that something that can happen within the scope of a season?
Yeah. And I mean, you're in week 6 right now, and you obviously don't want to beat the hell out of each other. But I'm glad that you brought up the offensive line because, again, 30,000-foot view. I'm not a coach. I don't talk to these guys like Brent and Coach Houck do and see him every single day. But I really think that it was sad to see Everett go down. I really hope he's going to be okay. With the situation that it presents, though, for the offensive line and putting Dylan back on the right where he's been and where he's comfortable at, I really think that is going to be a great position for him. Yeah. I mean, he's long, he's athletic. I think that he can run. That's what they need on the perimeter. Not that Everett can't do that. That's why he was there. And then Cade is comfortable inside. I think it'll give them a little bit of continuity to where they have been before. Cade's played at center, Dylan's played at tackle. I think that they're going to be able to build off of what they have, and obviously you have the best running back in the country. You have very talented quarterback, talented guys on the perimeter. I think that as time progresses, I think this will probably be the group that will play deep into the year. See what happens with Everett, but you got to just stay on those guys and just keep working their asses off in the middle of the week. And that was my initial point: is you don't want to beat each other up, but Coach Houck will hit in late into the year. He will do inside run. He will do all of those things because the only way you get better is playing football, and you got to do it once or twice a week against a defense that's good, like Montana has. You got to go good on good, and I think that he'll do that. I mean, what are they averaging right now? I think they're averaging 200 a game on the ground or something like that. It's not terrible.
Well, I mean, they're running the ball fine. Their offensive numbers are good.
But you got to stay on it.
It's probably an unfair evaluation at this point of the year, but I always evaluate 1 based on who they're playing, but then 2 based on who they're going to need to beat later on, right? Like all I'm thinking about is how would this match up against North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and Montana State? Because those guys are all going to be better defensive fronts than anything the Griz have seen even close to this point. Yeah,
and I mean, we'll do a little sidebar here, and I don't want to take away from what you have planned for us today, and I don't want to by any means overlook Sacred Heart, but I mean, we can talk about that in terms of like a preview snapshot. It's like, okay, if you're going to go the distance, who are you going to have to play? You're going to have to play your Montana States. You're going to have to play teams like Montana beat in North Dakota. You're going to have to play you're going to have to play the Dakota schools, period. You're going to have to play the state schools in Montana. And if you're going to do that and do it well, you're going to have a very strong run game. It allows you to control the game. And that's what happened last week. You said it earlier. They took over control of the game on the ground, and it allows you to just control the game. You can be down 2-3 scores. If you can run the ball, you can control the game, period.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how that group progresses. I think Bobby Houck is obsessed with rotating players, and I think that's to a great strength of his at basically every position except for at the offensive line and quarterback. They fixed the quarterback thing. They're not doing that. Ayat's been the man every snap. That's been great. I know Cameron Norcross, the offensive line coach, does not want to rotate, and I know that's been something that has been sort of going back and forth.
Yeah,
and now I think, ironically, because Johnson's out for a minute, it gives them their best five, because that's what I thought their best five was. I thought their best five was Klimzak in the middle and Botner at one of the two
on the perimeter. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of a de facto, let's stick with this five, and then, I mean, you know how I even thought on defense, and I get it. You gotta create depth, and it's different at different positions. But I always thought, even too, as a linebacker, you get out there, you get into the game, and you understand what the coordinator is trying to do, what the flow of the game is, rather than being a situational guy and just coming in on third down, or coming in passing situations, or coming in. I mean, you're not a pass rusher. You're not just coming out and saying, "Pin your ears back, let's go." Yeah, I mean, it's you're in all the run plays, you're in all the pass plays as a linebacker. So I would think the same thing at offensive line. It's like, I get coaches' theory of we want to develop depth, we want to stay fresh, but there's an element too of I got to get lathered up, I got to get in the game, I got to understand the rhythm and the way things are going too.
And the way they're shifting the fronts, they're showing them, all that sort of stuff. That was particularly true with the centers too, right? And I think that I think the guy's got to be able to call the pre-snap alignment. I think that smooths that stuff out quite a bit. I think
you're the quarterback of the trenches, man. I mean, you start seeing who they're rotating on the D line, what fronts they're doing, like you said, and protections, and what they're doing with the second level, and where we're going to mic it, where we're going to slide, where we're going to have our man side, where we're going to have our zone side. I know that a lot of that's on K-Elite, but also too, those guys have a lot of adjustments on the fly once the ball is snapped. So once you're rolling through, that can be challenging.
Meeting her stopped your world. The ring you give her should stop her heart.
Tina, will you marry me?
Not again! Don't worry, I'm gonna fix this. Because we want to be your jeweler! Aren't our beautiful diamond? Clear! Come back to me, Tina! Are you okay?
Thanks so much for listening to our Big Sky Breakdown podcast series, and for tuning into our Skyline Sports YouTube channel. If you have not, please rate, review, and subscribe. Particularly subscribe. Click on the subscribe button. That helps us out a ton. Thanks to our great partners who help make all of this content possible, including Ty Hobbs at Keller Williams Real Estate. Ty's a great friend of mine, guy I lift weights with in the mornings, and a guy I golf with as much as I can, but he's also an ace realtor. I did not choose him as my realtor because he's my friend, although that was a big perk. He is excellent when it comes to everything from efficiency to negotiation to no frills, no BS. He got our house on the market and got it sold in less than 24 hours, more like 4 hours. It was an impressive turnaround. He got us exactly the contract that we wanted. We needed to stay in our house for a couple months because we had a new build coming up. He negotiated that flawlessly. The negotiation part is the number one reason why we chose Ty, but he also has a great acumen when it comes to construction, building, remodels. We had a flood in our house that I needed help with repairing. Boom. He helped me out. Awesome service, awesome job. And if you're in the market for a realtor, Ty Hobbs is your guy. Let's hear more about the current real estate market from the man himself. So let's start with, how would you characterize the real estate market currently in both Missoula and Western Montana?
Well, currently in Missoula, we've seen a rise in inventory and buyer activity slow down a little bit. So it's turning more into a buyer's market, more than I've probably ever seen in the last 10 years or so.
So what does that mean, a buyer's market? How would you define that?
A buyer's market is really just means that there's more homes for sale than there are buyer demand. So buyers have choices, especially in negotiations.
And that means less leverage for somebody that's selling their house, more leverage for somebody that's trying to buy a house, correct?
Correct. More leverage for buyers.
Okay, so if you are a buyer and you hire you as your realtor, how do you go about then sort of taking advantage of that said advantage?
Well, right now you have the upper hand in negotiations, right? And first we start with a CMA and get a value and see where that price falls in, or where the value is for the buyers. And And then there's other things that we can negotiate, such as like seller concessions to help buy down the interest rate or give you a temporary break or relief on an interest rate to help with that monthly payment, so to speak.
So if people want to find out about that and other listings that you have, how do they find them?
Best way is just get a hold of me by phone, 406-544-9794.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, let's talk about the Sacred Heart matchup here then. I from a journalism perspective, it's fun when the Griz and the Cats play teams like this because I get to learn about, places I never knew about. I never knew there was a place in Connecticut that, has this school. And I mean, it's actually bigger than I thought. Counting the postgraduates, it's got almost 10,000 students. So they said second largest Catholic. Here's one for your broadcast. Second largest Catholic school in New England besides Boston College. I thought that was surprising, but
I'm taking that nugget. I'll put your name on that one.
Totally. I mean, for sure though, because I mean, it shows you that there's a reason why they're moving out of the NEC and getting into the CAA. It's not a big school, but it's a school that has some students and they have, a little bit of football tradition, been in the playoffs a couple times, and I think they just want to play big boy football. They want to get up to 63 scholarships and let it roll. So that was fun to learn about them. That said, what do you think about the challenge for the Griz, sort of having to step out of conference play and play this completely foreign opponent where you have no crossover, you have no common opponents, you have nothing like that. There's no comfortability to it. So what are the challenges of that for the Griz this week?
I think the challenges of this game, and it's going to be coach speak, but I think the challenges of this game are keeping the main thing, man. It's you are playing a football game against an opponent who wants to beat you. You're going to have a target on your back. They're 5-2, whether it's a conference opponent or a non-conference opponent. It's a football game on Saturday, and you need to have a beginner's mindset. You need to prepare. You need to make sure that you just handle all your controllables and not worry about all the other things that we talked about. Whether it's an unranked team, whether they're from Connecticut and how far they're coming, all that stuff that's going on. It has nothing to do with the 120 by 53.5 yard field. It's like you got to get ready to go perform on that grid, and that's it. So that's easier, I think, for some older guys. But as a coach, younger guys, I mean, it's easy to start seeing things develop where you're at right now at 6-0, and you're one of the best teams in the country. And hey, what do you think about this game? It's like, no, you got Sacred Heart on the schedule, and you better go take care of business, because I've seen a lot of 28.5 point favorites show up and do things that they shouldn't. I mean, you look at North Dakota, K-State, that was a 28.5 point favorite, and they had them beat, in the opener. So it's like, you better show up. This little short, tiny running back's got some serious juice. And these guys got 2 years ago or a year ago, they got a kid on defense who he made a 53. A couple of their DBs are good. I mean, they got scholarships. They're college athletes, and they're going to be geeked up to come play. So you better button it up, especially for a young kid, man. I mean, this is an opportunity where you might get some reps. You better make sure that you're ready to roll, because this might be the only reps you get the rest of the year until maybe it's crunch time and you do need to get in there. So handle it accordingly. That's my advice.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I've always thought this. I've always thought that the home field advantage that exists at Washington Grizzly is big no matter what. But I do think that sometimes, especially with teams that have been there before, it gives them some juice, initially at least, right?
Yeah.
I think the home field advantage is at its biggest when it's a team that has never been there before, because I think you have no idea. Like, you just have no clue what is coming. Like this is like what the infamous quote from Montana, when Montana State had an offensive coordinator that never been there before. He said, I'll never forget when he said this. He's like, "It's just Montana, it's not Michigan." And I was like, bro, it's closer to Michigan than you think. And then the Cats roll into town and get beat down 29-10 that year. Anyways, I don't know. I'm just so interested to see if Sacred Heart can handle that part of it.
It's true. I mean, that's one of the amazing things about Washington Grizzly Stadium, it doesn't matter if it's Montana State, North Dakota State, or an unranked opponent from the East Coast. The fans are gonna, like we said, they're gonna tailgate, they're gonna show up, they're gonna be loud, and the second you have a pre-snap penalty or you have a coach that pops off like that, the fans, it's bulletin board material, man. They love it. And then all of a sudden somebody jumps off sides. I don't care if they're Montana's up by 30. Fans get into it. They're yelling and they just want to see you jump off sides as many times as they can. And it becomes hectic and wild and you don't know what it's like until you go do it. And there's no familiarity. You're right. You're coming from Connecticut. If you've played, I think they played UConn 2 or 3 years ago.
Shit, ain't even close.
No, nothing like that. I mean, you heard Kurt Mallory of Indiana State, the head coach. He was like, we were at Penn State, man, and he goes, "This is just as loud." He's actually said verbatim, he's like, "This was louder than Penn State."
Yeah,
and it's when it's loud, it's loud, and that's all there is to it. And you can't practice for it, and it definitely gives you an advantage. That's why they have. Montana's won 87% of the games since the beginning of time in Washington, Chris. I mean, it's a hectic environment. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, I expect Montana to probably have personnel advantages across the board. So the last thing I'll ask you about is just the running back, because I do think Miles Summers is an interesting case study. I mean, he's rushed for almost 700 yards already. He's tiny. I mean, they list him at 5'7", 155, which means he's probably more like 5'5", 140. But I mean, he went crazy. He went nuts last week in their game against Howard. He had like 250 yards on like 17 carries. So when you're going against a small running back, is being that small actually an advantage because you can hide?
I think so, man. I always wanted to tackle the big back, like the guy who's 220 pounds and 230 pounds, and yeah, he could run. He had some shake, but you just always struggled. I did with short, fast, quick, explosive guys. I mean, it's such a it's just a smaller target, and they're gonna. You bet your ass what they're gonna do. They know that Montana's defense is fast. They know that. I mean, they talk to coaches. They know that they're more talented. So you start thinking like, how are they going to try to generate and create opportunities? Well, that kid's fast. That's a weapon. Montana plays man. I mean, I'd expect him to get out of the backfield on wheel routes and scat protection and making them cover him and space and little screens and just any way they can get this kid the ball, because like Coach Alex said, it's concerning to watch when he plays. Don't know the talent level, but he's running away from people. He does run away from people, and he had 250 last week, and we'll see what happens this week. I mean, the last thing you want to do is let a little guy like that start to be a mismatch problem. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but Montana's more talented. They should win convincingly, but Sacred Heart has scholarship athletes too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so sad that the number one thing I think when I see a guy like Miles Summers and then I look it up and I see he's a freshman, I think, oh, where's that guy going to be playing next year?
Not there.
not there. And then I was like, oh, well, the Griz have a running back from Connecticut already in Hashim Jones. I was like, maybe it's a package deal. Maybe they'll like what they see. And then I'm like, stop with that.
But you can't help but go there mentally.
Can't help it, man.
That's the landscape of college football, man.
I know. Like those guys on the Griz fan pod were saying, like after Idaho State, they're like, we should just get that number 97. Just put him on the bus, bring him back. Like, let's get another D tackle in the boat. It's crazy how that all works now.
No, it does. It's funny that you think that, because some of these teams that we're playing, you go, man, you know what? Maybe that kid would come over here. I think he'd fit into this scheme. Your mind goes there immediately,
right? Well, I mean, who are a couple of the Griz best players right now? Guys that were playing at other schools in the conference last year, right?
Yeah.
So, I actually think it's a smart recruiting. I don't know if Hauck is going to do that often or if that's going to become a trend, but it's not dumb to get a guy when you play Portland State, be like, oh, that guy's pretty good. He'd look pretty good in our defense. Let's get him over here, right?
You said it off the record, but with some of these bigger universities, and not going to say who, but who talks to these kids,
Yeah.
and it's the way that that they do it. Not saying that Coach Houck and their team's going to do that, but when you think of it, okay, who wants to play at a Montana or a North Dakota State in the FCS if you're not going to go to the FBS? You're going to want to play at a Montana or North Dakota State for a Big Sky Missouri Valley team and compete for a championship. And you look at Tolbert, Wing. I mean, you look at these guys. You look at Wortham. I mean, they're all FCS players, and they're some of the best players now in the FCS at Montana who want to have an opportunity to play for a championship. It's so true, because you play a kid like Summers. You play a kid. I mean, maybe this kid could be another Wortham type player. You don't know. That's where your mind goes, though, man. It's true.
Yeah, definitely true. Well, good luck at the call tomorrow, buddy, and thanks for doing a nice little piece of Friday content for us. And good talking to you. We'll talk next week.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk.